Hello guys, I'm back from another video on the debates about what if Deku was experimented on. So, in the last video, we talked about how, after waking up and also being told by Endeavor that his mother was basically, or at least his actual mother, his actual biological mother, actually came there and tried to say she was sorry and try to, readopt him or let him join her family once again. Well, when Izuku heard that, he would rather just die and never let her, become his, mother. Because ever since when he did basically, got into, the Appreciate Project, it basically changed him. Not only that, he was quirkless at the time, so he thought that his mother basically just, left him there because he was freaking quirkless. So yeah, thanks to those circumstances, Izuku doesn't like her at all. So, after being told that they were allowed to basically get out of the hospital, they decide to get some rest in, Enji's place, aka Endeavor's place. So, after a while of resting, they were told by a certain Damien guy, aka Damien himself, that they're gonna be, going to the training camp so they can save every single, student from being captured by the League of Villains. So, when they did basically get there, they basically, defeated the rest of these villains, but because of Izuku's brand new, poison sack, he can't really make unlimited, poisonous webs anymore, so he has a limited amount. It depends on or at least, how much he eats. If he eats a lot, similar to Yaoyorozu, he can create a lot of objects, or in this case, a lot, and I mean a lot of webs. So yeah, Izuku's gonna be eating a lot. To the point that he's probably gonna be in the same, eating rate as a fucking, bear when it's about to be autumn, or in this case, winter. So, after basically doing it like that, they were basically reunited, and also his, all three of his love interests were basically bickering as they agreed to basically sleep with him for the night. So yeah, so that was basically what happened last episode. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, after basically waking up and being told that they're finally going to be leaving the whole training camp, they basically left, as when they did leave, they were told that they're going to be going to somewhere that's, much more important, because this is basically their first day on the job of being, heroes. Kind of. They're going to be, raiding a freaking, villains, layer, specifically the layer of the League of Villains, so they can save Bakugo, because after trying to find Bakugo last night, they couldn't. So yeah. So, when they did get to that place, being, UA's, campus, they were told by a concerned, principal of the school, aka, wait for a second, a Nezu, or in this case Nezu, or Principal Nezu, would tell every student that they're going to be joining the raid against the League of Villains so they can save Bakugo Katsuki, to the dismay of Class A, including Izuku himself, because he thinks that it's better off to just, let Bakugo just, stay there and basically suffer the consequences. But unfortunately, Nezu still has a good heart and tells everybody to just, put that chapter in their lives to rest for now, and they meet to save Bakugo completely immediately. So, yeah. So, after being told of this, everybody was told that they're going to be preparing the next day. So, it's better for everybody to start learning a little bit more about, fighting, and everybody being told that they're going to be, raiding the space, so it's better to say goodbye to your fathers and mothers, friends, family, or anything like that, in case if you, let's just say, disappear. Yeah, let's just say that. So, when they were told of this, they started going back to classes, as when it's the end of the day, Izuku would be approached by all three of the girls, being, well, wait for a second, being Su Asui, Shoka Todoroki being his adopted sister, and, by the way, not blood related, so, anyway, and finally, a old member of the Prishiki Project with the help, like, she's also like a member of the Prishiki Project, just like Izuku, aka her name is, well, wait for a second, Melissa Shield. They're all in Izuku's room, as Izuku would just say this. So, why are all of you in my room exactly, and why? As one of them would say this, being Suyu. Well, we've been wondering for a while now. As, well, another girl would chime in, being Melissa. Melissa would say this. Well, it's because we love you. As Deku would just say this. Wait, what? As one of them would say this, being, well, Shoka. Yeah, we love you. But not in the, the whole, like, best friend way, as in, we love you guy, or anything like that. No, we generally mean, we love you, as in, the whole, like, lovers thing. As Izuku would say this. So you... As one of them would say this, being Suyu. Yeah, Kero. Ever since I met you, and after, thing, last time, I felt something between us. And I wanted to ask, before we start this whole raid thing to see Bakugo, as one of them would chime in, being Melissa Shield. Melissa would say this. Yeah, we wanted to chime, not really chime, it's more like, we wanted to say, will you be our boyfriend? It's okay, we can share. As Izuku would just say this. Wait, what? As one of them would say this, being, well, his adopted sister, Shoka. Yeah, we want to share you. If you're okay with it, at least. As Izuku would say this. I'm actually okay, but I'm not really ready for a relationship. Especially with my, as one of them would say this, being Melissa. Don't worry, we're okay with it. After all, we are gonna be heroes. As Shoka would say this. Yeah. So, will you accept us? And will you, please? As one of them would say this, specifically, being Suyu, Suyu would say this. Will you please be our boyfriend, Gero? As Izuku would say this. As his face used to be, the whole, like, pure white, but it's slowly turning a deep tomatoish red, as he would say this. He would just, like, start, like, the malfunctioning like a freaking computer, as he would say this. Sure. Sure. Yeah. I guess we could, maybe, as all three of the girls would say this. Good. I guess we can start now. As all of them would actually just leave it up to your imagination. Let's go to the next day, shall we? So, the next day comes as Izuku would wake up, see several clothes on the floor, mostly from girls, and you get the rest. Izuku would take off the covers and sees all three of the girls on his feet, literally, like, covering him. Yeah. When Deku basically just, like, and sees this, he would say, "Oh no," as he would get a knock at the door, as a person would walk in with no reason to do so, like completely, as a person would come out from the corner, as it wait for a second, as this person is, well, Izumi, trying to find, well, Melissa, as she was told by, well, Class 1A that Melissa decided to stay in the, well, room of Izuku. As when she does, she would say this: "Hey, Melissa, where are, As when Izumi, well, saw this, she would say this: I guess I should probably just, like," she would, like, slowly start moving away, as Izuku would say this. I can explain, as she would say this. I should probably get out, as she would start running away. As Izuku would be, unfortunately his secret would run out. He's dating 3 girls, as when the whole, like, class, specifically Class 1A, hears about this, one of the people there would say this, um, specifically Ida, he would say this: what exactly is happening here? And this is absolutely inappropriate. I can't believe all 3 of you. And did you use protection? And have you ever thought that you might get, as he starts, like, blabbering about, like, pregnancy and things like that, Izuku is just basically just, like, in the corner, just thinking in his mind, "Oh God, why?" As all of the girls are basically talking to, all 3 of the girls that basically just, like, decide to have fun with Izuku, to say the least. As some of the boys, specifically Kaminari, what's his face? Like Sarah would say this: "So, you're dating 3 girls, eh?" As one of them, specifically Kaminari, would say this: "I can't believe you're that lucky." As Izuku would say this: "How is this freaking lucky? I feel like I'm being judged in all directions." As a teacher would come by, as he would say this, being Aizawa: "Hey, hurry up, and besides, we need to prepare for the raid soon, and it's coming tonight. You better prepare, and if you don't, you're expelled." As everybody would hear that, as they would say this: "I guess we should prepare then." So, yeah. As everybody's basically wearing their hero costumes, including Izuku himself, he's basically just, like, waiting around as several heroes arrive, including the top 10 heroes themselves and All Might. They would explain that the whole, like, operation is going to be called Operation Jailbreak, where they're going to be trying to basically find a way to, recapture and also save Bakugo. As they were told this, and literally while they're basically going there to the place where the whole, like, wait for a second, where the whole place of, what is that place specifically called? Oh yeah, the League of Villains base. They were told that um that they're gonna be trying to find a way to basically break, well, Bakugo out, while they're basically riding to the League of Villains base, while they're basically, like, talking about that. So All Might is basically explaining that some of the heroes are going to be causing a distraction, specifically All Might, and in case of a certain All For One is basically coming towards them at full speed and getting ready to kill them and also steal their quirks, Izuku would basically try and kill him as a last resort, and also with Damien and another person, specifically Melissa Shield, being also a member of the Persky Project as well. So, after being told of this, they land at a certain, well, drop site which is nearby to the League of Villains base. So, As everybody starts getting off, like the helicopters and basically everything else, they would start walking towards there because trying to go on helicopter would be super suspicious. So, sorry about that, wait for a second. So, they would start running. Specifically, the heroes are basically now deciding to do the distraction thing. So, while they're doing the distraction, some of the League of Villains members would start getting out there, and some nobles would start getting out there as well so they can destroy the hero. As for the students, they were told to basically get into the League of Villains base to try and save Bakugo. So, as when they're basically getting there, they get stopped by a large Nomu. The Nomu seeming like a powerhouse, as Izuku would jump away and telling everybody to get ready their guards. So, a certain Kirishima would start hardening his skin as he would start charging towards, well, the door as he breaks it down, as the main, well, League of Villains members, or at least the ones that are much more recognizable, would be seen, as one of them would say this: "I think that was not pizza." As one of them would say this, being Shigaraki. "You think?" As, well, a certain person by the name of Konagiri would say this: "Scramble!" As everybody would start running away, except for Bakugo being tied up in a chair and, well, screaming for help. Or in this case, screaming, "God damn it, you stupid, useless extras!" As Izuku would say this: alright. Besides, we're basically trying to save you for God's sakes. And if you don't want to be saved, then be your guest. Try not to kill yourself anyway. As he would say this: "Okay, fine, just free me for God's sake." As Deku would just say this: "Much better." So, after saving him, they would be, well, hearing something in the distance. And it isn't, well, reinforcements. Well, it's more like reinforcements, but for, well, the League of Villains themselves. They would see a masked and black suited man. This man being All For One. All For One would look at every single hero saying, "Pathetic." As he would start using his multiple quirks to create an air blast, causing everybody to basically fly away, except for All Might, as both of them would start clashing. So, Damien is basically watching in the sidelines as he thinks, there's gonna be a problem. As he would touch his ear as he basically gave Izuku a communications like a device in his ear as he would say this: "Hey Izuku, I think it's time for you to let loose and let that bastard suffer." As Izuku would say this: Fine. I guess it's time for me to finally show my stuff. After all, it's time for the Rebirth to finally let his, well, you know, let it all rip." As Ezekiel would start walking over to them, as All Might would say this: "Young Midoriya, get out of here!" As he would say this: "So you must be the young Midoriya that I begin..." Well, wait for a second. I meant this. "So you must be the young Midoriya that I've been hearing about. The one that's able to use a special type of, well, or in these cases, a artificially made quirk. I'm quite interested, especially with the whole artificial quirks part. Now, let me ask you this. Do you really want to fight me? Besides, we have the same dream. We want to change the world for the better, and making this world much more balanced. No more will the heroes be on top. No more will the quirkless suffer. You want that, right? After all, you were quirkless in life. But now, you have returned and become something greater. Something more dastardly. Why not join me and become a villain just like... As Izuku would say this, shut the hell up. As he would summon in a large bug that he kind of created. It resembles, well, if you've seen Soul Leveling, just imagine him as like the gigantic ass ants. Specifically the humanoid ones. Like, for example, the Ant King or whatever his name is. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, he would summon in this almost humanoid insect that resembles a, well, insect from, or at least like the ants from like, Solo Leveling. So, these gigantic ants would start smashing into All For One, as All For One would say this. The hell are those? As Izuku would say this. Oh, special insects that I kind of whipped up for you, specifically All For One. I originally wanted to use them for other means. In this case, in cases of you being a bit of a nuisance. So, I created those so you can take down you specifically. Not only that, they were also meant to be used for, well, taking down some high-level villains. Like, for example, Mr. What's his face? Over something? Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, it's time for you to pay with your life, Mr. All For One. Now, allow me to show you what I have learned ever since I was in that coma. Now, face this. Poison web cage. Orpheus strings. As a gigantic ass, well, you know, cage made of webs that, well, just imagine like, Rui's webs, or specifically the cage, or weave, or whatever it's called. It's basically his blood demon art. And like, you know, what is that called? In Kimetsu no Yaiba. Imagine it like that, but except, instead of like glowing red, it's glowing, well, purple. As he would start, well, retracting these, well, gigantic ass strings, similarly to Don Flamenco from, well, One Piece. A lot of freaking references from different anime. Anyway, so, he would start retracting these strings as they would start closing in on him. When these strings started like getting closer to his body, he would start feeling the effects of the poison. Shigaraki would start, well, sorry about that, would start running towards Izuku to try and disintegrate him. As Izuku would just say this. So you're down to try and disintegrate me, eh? Well then, as for your troubles, he would summon his, well, Centispear, as these, well, Centispear would basically just, like, rip off both of his arms, and he would, well, kick him right in the testicles. Say goodbye to those family jewels, then. So, after doing that, he would see that All For One is basically struggling, basically all tied up. As Izuku would say this, Hey, All Might, are you willing to let me, oh, I don't know, maybe kill your arch enemy? I mean, he's quite dangerous, so why not just let him die? As All Might would say this, you're right. You are right. This monster who's been ruining this society by destroying everything, by daring to call himself much more higher, much more stronger than the heroes themselves. He must pay. And that punishment is death. So, Izuku, will you do the honors? As one of them specifically, well, wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, he would say this. Will you do the honors, Izuku? Take down that evil villain. Leave this world. As Damien would say this. Izuku, you have heard. As Izuku would say this. Fine then. No. Any last words, All For One, before you die? As he would say this. I hope to see you in hell. As Izuku would say this. Hope to see you in hell too, Mr. All For One. As he would pull these strings as all for one would be shish kebabbed. Not really shish kebab, more like, sliced into million pieces kebab. So, after all for one was defeated, Shigaraki would be lamenting, as he would say this, "It's all your fault!" As he would start charging towards Izuku, as Izuku would say this, "Sorry, but take this." As he would just kick him right in the balls again, as he would say this, "Say goodbye to those family jewels again." Anyway, as for you, All Might, we did it. All for one is done for. I guess you can finally retire or whatever. As he would say this, "Thank you, kiddo." As Izuku would say this. Anyway, so, what's next? Wait for a second, sorry about that. As Damien would say this. "Oh, is it not obvious? It's time for us to finally rest. It might have been a tiring mission for all of you kids." As everybody would say this. "Yeah, that was terrifying." As Izuku would say this. "Hey, everybody. I'll have, I don't know, have a party. I'll even pay for the food. My treat." As everybody was completely excited, as they basically blew it on, on Endeavor's credit card. As everybody's basically celebrating, they would invite also their parents, including, Shoka's mother, aka Izuku's adopted mother. As he would finally meet her for the first time, as she was quite happy finally meeting him for the first time as well. But he would also meet his actual mother, Inko Midoriya. She would say this, "Hello there, son." As Izuku would say this, "Leave me alone. Besides, you're ruining the party." As, Izumi would come out as she would say this, "Izuku, or brother, me and mother have been, we've been wondering if you want to go back to our family." As when everybody hears that, everybody would just look, as you would think, "Oh, this is definitely gonna be a horrible scene." As she would say this, "Come on, you want to join back, right? I mean, mother did horrible to you. I mean, she didn't actually mean to do it. She just didn't want to do it in the first place. After all, ever since you were born, as Izuku would say this, just shut up." As they would be taken aback by it, as Izuku would say this, "I don't want to be your goddamn little ass puppet. And besides, you discarded me. Just because I was quirkless, right? Right?" As Inko would say this, "No, I didn't really mean to." As Izuku would say this, "I said I just don't want to be your son. Besides, I'm much more happier here, with my new family. So just stop, apologizing. I mean, I don't really care anymore. So, yeah. Anyway, so just enjoy the party. And maybe we can probably recommend this, or, I don't know. Maybe, I can just say, I accept it or whatever." As everybody would just think, "Oh, thank God." As she would say this, being Inko. "So, how about my, daughters-in-law, or at least your, wives?" As when all three of the girls, specifically, Todoroki, or Shoka in this case, Tsuyu Asui, and Melissa Shield hear that, they would start, to blush. As when Inko saw this, she would say this, "I'm guessing I finally found him." As when, Izumi saw this, she would say this, "I can't believe you actually got 3 brides, brother." As Izuku would just say this: "I told you don't call me brother, and by the way, it's more like I've been forced into it." So yeah, so this is basically the end of this series. But before you guys leave, let's talk about the epilogue, shall we? So, well then, let's talk about the epilogue. So, the epilogue starts as Izuku is, well, now the number one hero, and, well, more specifically, the number one hero in, well, the underground, or in this case, the underworld. Because people fear him for being quite terrifying in battle. Not only that, he has 3 wives, and each of them got, well, 2 kids, making him, well, a father of, well, 6 children. Each of them basically having similar quirks, or in this case, artificial quirks from Izuku. Like, for example, one of his children with, Shoka had a fire and bug-like quirk, and, so on and so forth. But for the children of him and also, well, wait for a second, Melissa Shield, it's, well, they mostly got the traits of their, well, fathers, like, whole, like, bug-like essence or powers. Because after all, Melissa is more technological based, so because of this, her daughter, or in this case the oldest out of all of them, had a more smarter approach. Even though she's quirkless, she is pretty much really smart, to the point that she's kind of like the Barbara Gordon, but except without the wheelchair bound thing. That was dark. Anyway, so because of this, Izuku became the number one hero in the underground hero agencies of Japan. And as for the number one hero in the public, it's Bakugo. Even though I hate saying his name and also hate him in general, he became the number one hero in the public. And the second number two hero, or in this case the number 2 hero in the public eye, is, well, Izumi, being Izuku's actual sister. She would actually marry, well, Bakugo, and surprisingly, their relationship basically, like, blossomed, and each of their children would basically play around. As for Bakugo, he would be a great friend to Izuku, even though he knows that Izuku is basically, let's just say his, like, brother-in-law, or kind of. So, yeah, basically, this story basically came to an end. So, yeah. So, basically, this is going to be the end of the episode, so, yeah. But before you guys leave, before you guys, actually leave, I'm gonna tell you, who voted, or at least, who won in the vote for what is the next, like, what-ifs. In this case, these are going to be the next what-ifs that are going to be coming to my channel. Or at least, coming soon, at least. So, apparently, it seems that the winners are What If Deku Never Got One For All, and for a tie, being What If Bell was a BOW from Resident Evil, and also What If Deku was an Oni. So yeah, these 3 What Ifs are going to be my next What Ifs, so yeah. And I actually wanted to see what if Bell could summon the hero experience from Fate, win, because I wanted to see that. I guess this is not my time, or at least that what if's time. So yeah, this is gonna be the end of this, well, series. So, I'm gonna see you all guys, maybe, next Monday. So yeah, I'm gonna be coming back on next Monday. Or in this case, well, basically, this week, probably not gonna make any videos. The next week, not gonna make any videos, but the third week is going to be, well, me going back to making videos on Monday. So yeah, this is basically the end of this series, and so, let's, well, say goodbye. In this case, well, you know, this is going to be the end of the video. Anyway, so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!